Hey guys, welcome back to the YouTube channel. Today we're going to be talking about payback time. And that's actually what this title of the video is. It's payback time. And this is for people who really feel like they know the justice of God, they know God is good, they know He is the punisher of the wicked and the rewarder of the good. But they wonder and look in their life and say, when is God going to bring about this justice? So we're going to learn about justice. We're going to learn about God completing His justice, but also why we should not take justice into our own hands. And we're going to teach this, I'm going to use the story of David and Nabal. Now, the way this story begins is David is in the wilderness hiding from King Saul, because King Saul knows David is basically anointed by the Lord to be king, and he sees it as evident in his life. So Saul is hunting David, trying to destroy him and kill him because he fears losing the throne. And so basically David's in the wilderness of Judea, and down there he knows this man Nabal, who is this very rich sheep herder. He shears sheep, sells them, whatnot. He's very, very wealthy man, but he's like not a good dude, basically. And David's down there. Basically he's got 600 guys with him who have banded together with him and are basically in exile with him. And David is thinking, how am I going to support these people? How am I going to support myself? I need food, I need money, I need all these things. So he says, or I'd imagine, this isn't not explicitly said, but I believe he went to go basically do something nice for Nabal in order to get some kind of compensation for it. Now what he did was he provided security for the sheep shearers when they were out shearing the sheep. He said, basically provided, he used his men as a wall between the sheep shearers and the wilderness and all the threats and dangers. And basically David did something really nice for Nabal. So then he sends messengers out. He sends messengers out to Nabal, basically to talk to him and say, hey, what do we need to do? Like, it's a feast day. Can you please bless us? How do we get this reward, basically, for what we did? And let me read that for you. It's 1 Samuel chapter 25. We're going to read 7 through 12. Now I've heard that you have shearers. Your shepherds were with us, and we did not hurt them, nor was there anything missing from them all the while they were in Carmel. Ask your young men, and they will tell you. Therefore let my young men find favor in your eyes, for we come on a feast day. Please give whatever comes to your hand to your servants and to your son David. So when David's young men came, they spoke to Nabal according to all these words in the name of David, and waited. Then Nabal answered David's servants and said, who is David, and who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants nowadays who break away each one from his master. Shall I then take my bread and my water and my meat that I have killed from my shearers, and give it to men when I do not know where they are from? So David's young men turned on their heels and went back, and they came and told him all these words. So basically, in response to David doing something really awesome for Nabal, Nabal basically spit in his face, said, no, I reject you. And also says, you're breaking away from your master. Obviously, that's not the case, as we read in the Word. King Saul was hunting David, and David was innocent. So all of this kind of offended David, and we see his response in verse 13 when he says, then David said to his men, every man gird on his sword. So every man girded on his sword, and David also girded on his sword. And about 400 men went with David, and 200 stayed with the supplies. So David's about to say, that's it, I'm going out. I'm just going to take what is due to me, and I will have justice. That's what David's saying. But luckily for Nabal, his wife Abigail, who was a very wise woman, heard this message that was given to Nabal, and heard about what's happening with David. And we're going to read that in 14 through 16. Now one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, "Look, David sent messengers from the wilderness to greet our master, and he reviled them. But the men were very good to us, and we were not hurt, nor did we miss anything as long as we accompanied them when they were in the fields. They were a wall to us both by night and by day, all the time we were with them keeping the sheep." So basically, Abigail hears this news, hears that her husband basically defied David. He's a man of war, and now she's freaking out. So she's like, okay, I gotta go make amends to this situation and fix the problem. So basically, she gets a whole bunch of food. We can read that in verse 18. It says, "Then Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves of bread, 2 skins of wine, 5 sheep already dressed, 5 seahs of roasted grain, 100 clusters of raisins, 200 cakes of figs, and loaded them on donkeys." So she's taking all this food to appease David, so that Nabal doesn't die, none of this bad stuff happens. And we can see that in verse 36 through 39, we see the results of this. So David was appeased because of this, and then Abigail went back, and here in this verse is really where we see the justice of God. So let's look. Now Abigail went to Nabal, and there he was holding a feast in his house, like a feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunk. Therefore she told him nothing, little or much, until morning light. So it was in the morning, when the wine had gone from Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became like a stone. Then it happened, after 10 days, that the Lord struck Nabal, and he died. So when David heard that Nabal was dead, he said, "Blessed be the Lord, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal, and has kept his servant from evil. For the Lord has returned the wickedness of Nabal on his own head." And David sent and proposed to Abigail to take her as his wife. So we look and see the results of the justice of God. David got his due reward for what he did for Nabal. Abigail got married to David, soon to be king of Israel. Think about that. And then Nabal got what he deserved by being struck dead by the Lord. So we see that God is a God of justice, and you do reap what you sow. But here is the important lesson in all of this. David says, "Blessed be the Lord, who has pleaded the cause of my reproach from the hand of Nabal," and this is the important part, "and has kept his servant from evil." What the Lord wants you to do, and what's so important to God, is he wants to take you, and he wants justice. God is a God of justice. He's a God that you reap what you sow. But what happens is, a lot of times we can get in our own way by deciding what that justice is and how to execute that justice. And we can get in a really, really dangerous place. But as what we can read in Deuteronomy 32, verse 35, which is a principle of God, it says, "Vengeance is mine, and recompense. Their foot shall slip in due time, for the day of their calamity is at hand, and the things to come hasten upon them." So God is a God of justice and vengeance, and he does bring them about, but he brings it about in due time. Now let's compare what happened in this versus how it would have happened had David went along with what his plan was. He was going to kill every male in the house of Nabal. He probably was going to kill a bunch of servants. He was probably going to take Abigail, take things, and David would have committed evil by killing innocent people. But in God's way, David was blessed, Abigail was blessed, and Nabal got what he deserved. No one else had to die. So God's justice is better than your justice, and you need to have patience, and you need to wait on the Lord to come and execute this justice, because his ways are higher than your ways. So that's just what I wanted to talk about today. I hope you're encouraged. It really encourages me to hear this, because there can be injustices not only in our life, but in the world around us that we see, and we can trust in God and know that those injustices, those are going to be held accountable for what they did, and God's going to judge them. But anyways, I'm glad you watched this video. If you liked it, literally leave a like, subscribe, comment down below. And if you want to partner with me in ministry, you can just share the link to this video on other social media platforms. And if you feel led to financially support me, you can click the link down below in the description. Anyways, I hope you guys are blessed and have an amazing rest of your day. Bye-bye.